Hi, welcome to CIDC. I'm Jayashri Kurup. I'm editor CIDC Nirman, and I'm here to talk about Budget 2024. This is a interim budget. The government is placing on record its intent to go forward. We have a very enlightened panel here. We have Mr. Vinayak Pai. He's the Managing Director and CEO of Tata Projects Limited. We have Dr. PR Swarup. He is the Director General of the Construction Industry Development Council. It's an umbrella body working towards the entire industry. Uh, we have Himanshu. He is from Pidilite Industries. Thank you for joining us. And today we're talking about an industry which has become an umbrella industry. We also have Mr. Ram Reddy. I can't see him on the screen right now, but he will be joining us shortly. There's Mr. T Archunan. He is the Director Projects of Chennai Metro Rail Corporation. Mr. Archunan, unfortunately, he's on a flight. The flight timings have not matched us, but he did give us a interview, and I will play it in our discussion. These are all veterans from the industry. These are all people who are holding up the industry, so to speak. So let's now talk about what are the big ticket issues or the things that they would like to see in budgets as far as this industry is concerned. So, Mr. Pai, we'll start with you.
Thank you, Jayashri, and good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining in on this chat. Today, I think we heard Madam Finance Minister and the budget. I believe overall the requirements of the industry to maintain and sustain the growth momentum has been signaled. It's a continuation more or less of the policies which we have seen of the government in the last 10 years or so. We are seeing a strong push on the infrastructure being the growth engine. I always think that as we have seen many countries in the past, including China, a very robust investment in infrastructure and the overall momentum on that is extremely essential for rapid growth of the economy. And we have seen that play out in India and continuing to do so. And I'm confident that some of the steps which have been signaled in this budget will further enhance and reinforce. We've seen very strong, outlay on infrastructure. It has increased by almost 11% from last year, which is again signaling a strong continuity of the infrastructure focus of the government. We have seen the improvement on capex. Also, more importantly, I'm very encouraged that while balancing the priorities of growth, there have been, significant announcements, maybe not as detailed as we would have liked, in sustainability. We have seen a lot of announcement around the green energy, the energy transition, and the net zero commitment of the country. For the first time, we are seeing things like offshore wind being propagated. We are seeing the biogas and biofuels being promoted to a large extent. So all these are very good indicators of what we as a country have to do if we have to realize our dream of being a developed country with a 30 trillion economy by 2047. And directionally, I think we are building, we are growing, but we are also building sustainably. And that for me is very critical. A few issues which I would have liked to see a little more of is investment on technology, which is very critical for us as we grow as a nation. Some support and drive towards use of technology. A further commitment to faster dispute resolution and better planning on our projects, which again is a critical element of making all these investments successful. These are some of the things which we would have liked to see more of, but I'm sure that as the new government comes in later part of this year, we will see some of these issues addressed in a more meaningful way.
Right. Uh, Himanshu, I'm going to come to you. What are the issues that your industry would have liked addressed, and do you think they have been addressed in this budget?
So, thanks, Ashley, and again, good afternoon to everybody. I think Mr. Pai has pointed out uh, everything, what you can see at 30,000 feet, the consistency in a government's motive, focus on infrastructure, be it roads, rail, metro, or we are not talking today, or the budget paper which came did not talk about the investment in water treatment plants, effluent treatment plants, but I know that that's where also the money is going. So this is all in the right direction. But I want to touch upon the technology topic which Mr. Pai raised. When we are looking at the sustainability side of government's move, there's a lot of work being done when it comes to renewable energy, say solar power. We also look at the consumer goods areas where there is a good classification of the products being done, and there is good understanding given to the consumers on what is uh, energy efficient and what is not. Now, equivalent of that in the construction industry is something which we have been expecting, but we are not seeing in the budget discussions. When it comes to investment in research and investment in technologies which are sustainable in construction, I think this is one area where government needs to focus on now. Uh, and the second point which I raised, the way we see the classification in the consumer durables area, we need to have also the classification on the construction materials and the buildings we construct. In the construction material side, while we are talking about the green buildings and the green materials, we also understand brown buildings and brown materials, but there is no clear cut rating given. And if we can come up with some kind of classification on that and the rating of the materials, it will help us in also achieving our energy goals. We can talk a little bit more about it later, but this is my high level view.
Yeah. Mr. Ram Reddy, would
Yeah.
you like to talk about what your industry was expecting? Uh, uh, what are the announcements, and how are you responding to them?
So majorly we have been talking about the affordable housing many times. We have given the multiple representations. Even recently also we gave the representation to the Honorable Minister. So about the affordable housing, now there is a in the metro cities it is 60 square meters of carpet area, and the non-metro it is 90 square meters of carpet area. It's called affordable area, affordable housing. So we were requesting it is to raise to 90 square meter and 120 square meter respectively to metro and non-metro. And even the cap, the 45 lakhs is the cap of for an affordable housing. So affordable home 45 lakhs today it is very very challenging to get in any metro cities. You know how the land prices have gone up, or construction cost has gone up, and it's very very difficult to get any affordable home in that price. So we are requesting them to take out the bar of that 45 lakhs. You know, this was decided in 2017. The affordable definition of the housing was decided in 2017, where they've decided to 45 lakhs is the affordable home. But today, after 7 years, still it is the same thing. So, lot of inflation is there year on year, 7%, 6%, or even more than that. Some of the cities, so even year on year, 10% also there is a change in the prices. So, the affordability has gone now. So, the government has to rethink about that. Then even credit linked subsidy scheme was there for the middle income and first time home buyers. That has been not that has been taken out. So that is not there. So even just now, the budget honorable minister addressed in address she expressed that some shops are going to be given to the middle income group in housing. So we are expecting that CLSS scheme is going to be back into action. So I mean, even credit guarantee for the low income people. There are people who doesn't have a income tax returns. So I mean, street vendors like and small income people, so they don't have income proof. So wherein, so they will not be able to get the any bank loans. We are requesting the government to give some guarantee from the government so that they will get the bank loans. You know, housing sector is where the NPA is the least. So I think I was told it's only 3% of the total, I mean, outlay. I mean, it's in lakhs of crores of rupees is going into through for housing loans, but hardly any NPS are there. So when the loan is given, the property they are giving only 60%, 70%, 80% of the value they give, and during after the construction, the value goes up. So always the banker is safe in whatever the loan he has given to any purchaser. So we ask for that also. Even to promote the rental housing also. So whatever the income generated through the rents, we were asking for the income tax exemption up to 20 lakhs. So these are all things only to encourage the uh, construction industry. So you know, construction industry. Every time we talk about after the agriculture, the highest employment generator is only construction industry, and there are, I mean, 250 industries are dependent on the our construction sector. There are many industries. So huge contribution is there through our construction industry. So again, long-term capital gain also we requested them. So I mean, it should be 10% instead of 20%, and instead of 1 year, 2 years, it should be request them to for 1 year. So all these things representation is given. I think in the budget, I think, I mean, but for that announcement of a middle income group, we didn't get anything much on this thing. But only thing positive note. So 11 lakh 11,111, all 11 7 11s. So they are announced for the capex. So it may be through, I mean, airports, that railways, then infrastructure. Huge growth is there. That so we have been seeing for past, especially past 7 8 years, huge investments is going to these sectors. We are able to see. I mean, many. I mean, huge development is happening. That again, indirectly, it helps the real estate industry. So huge money is coming, flowing into that. So indirectly, the employment is generated in that. So I mean, real estate also is going to get a big help out of it. So definitely, so it's a since it is an interim budget. So in the coming budget, definitely there may be again some relief to the home buyers, especially even tax also. I mean, whatever the interest on the home loan. So there is a only 2 lakhs cap is there. We are requesting for that 5 lakhs also. So if the, such reliefs are given, so in, I mean, middle income people especially will be definitely benefited out of that. And the dream of housing for all from the Prime Minister of India will come true. So a good thing is they have announced the 2 crores of homes in next to 5 years. That is a very positive note. So many people are going to get that homes because of this announcement. Definitely, I can say it's a mixed budget, but it's not. We didn't expect a great things from that, but only again we had some pain points in, especially ease of doing business, and it's a. I mean, it won't come in the budget, but definitely they should focus on the ease of doing business. Then, I mean, RERA is there. So when RERA, we are responsible for anything delays and all, but the government officials who are giving the permissions, they are not at all responsible. So there are a lot of delays are happening, giving the permissions or giving the occupant certificates. So that also be made accountable so that a lot of transparency will come. So ease of doing, the government has to focus a little more on that. Definitely, the industry is evolving after RERA and all. So the bad developers are, I mean, vanishing. So all good things are happening in the real estate industry. Government should give little more importance to the this sector. Definitely, it's going to have a great days. Jayashree, you're on mute.
Sorry. Thank you, Mr. Reddy. Industry that was mired in problems for a large number of years. There's a new regulation in place. There's lots happening, and obviously it's work in progress. Dr. Swarup, I'll come to you now. All our panelists have given their views, their first views. Uh, as the industry body, tell us what the CIDC was looking for, and has the CIDC found what it was looking for?
Well, Jashri, I must say that the directions that are there in the interim budget, and I quite agree with my earlier speakers that this is an interim budget, and because it is an interim budget, it only gives the clue about the intentions. And I think the intentions are positive, the directions are same, and basically the thrust has to continue happening there for, in my own assessment, for not less than 15 to 20 years. That's the way things are going to go. So construction industry is going to be a very, very important actor in the whole economic development and of course helping out the quality of life of citizens. So as far as the directions are concerned, I guess that we are moving in that direction and government has endorsed that through the budget. But here comes actually the kind of what I would not call them pain point, but I think these are the kind of issues that we need to flag. And I believe that is the purpose of this deliberation, that when the new government comes and they start developing the budget, then I think there are certainly many more areas where a thrust has to be given and a conscious thrust has to be given. So it is just kind of a bullet points that I would like to flag. Let us look at the kind of facts that we have today. Give or take, if we even talk about the kind of urban transportation sector, metros and the regional development authorities who are actually doing the job of connectivity, and of course the highways, I think very, very huge investments are going there, and much of the resources that are being put, they have been actually borrowed for a on a long term basis, and phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 and subsequent phases are going to go on. So there is going to be continuous investment that will come in this particular area. Majority of our players are also working on that. On the other hand, even the real estate sector is also seeing an upswing, because as the urban population is enhancing, I think the businesses are growing. And as Mr. Reddy very correctly said, that the NPAs of all the loans that have been taken, they are generally very, very low. So therefore, it is a fairly safe sector. But then again, the issue that we have to raise, number one, what about the urban infrastructure? That is something which we have to start looking at very seriously now, because we can provide the urban transportation, we can evacuate the population from the dense centers to hinterland, but then what is going to happen to the rest of the urban infrastructure in the major cities? You look at the large cities like Bangalore, Bombay, of course, has always been a very busy place. Delhi, I have seen the face changing in past 25, 30 years drastically. And now we are talking about the smaller peaceful towns like Pune and other places also, which are basically galloping now and pretty fast. So you have construction all over. And one of the major indicator which I guess all of us would realize and feel is actually the kind of time that it takes to commute within these large city places that you have there. Earlier, it used to be a lead time of not more than half an hour. Now it is almost like 1 hour to 1.5 hours anywhere you go in any place in these cities. So why is this happening? Because much of the investment is now coming in these areas. Of course, the positive part that the government has spoken about is that continuous thrust is also going into the kind of rural housing, and it is also going into economically weaker section housing, which might provide some solace to the people to be comfortable wherever they are. So that is one issue that I would say urban infrastructure. The second very major issue is that whereas we are investing huge sums of money and much of it is actually borrowed, we have to understand that we need people to construct all this. And where are the people? If we look at the kind of construction that had taken place before 2000, I'm dividing this into two components, before 2000 and after 2000. And after 2000, the kind of construction we have done, believe you me, none of us had ever done. We had some idea, vague idea, when the things were being developed like highways and roads, but then nobody realized that this is the kind of blast that is going to be happening now. You look at the urban transportation itself. Among 21, 22 metro corporations and few regional transport development corporation, a vast sum of over 25 to 30 lakh crores of rupees has already been committed, which is a huge sum of money. And it requires a huge number of people who can execute the work, people with many specialized skills also. Where are these? And what exactly are the policies that we are going to be having to make sure that we are able to meet this demand? Then, of course, there is another facet also that we have to look at, rather, two facets, I would say. The next facet is that we are building assets very furiously. So many flyovers have been constructed, but what about their health assessment? How about their maintenance? How about their upkeep? So the assets are there. They need to be maintained also. Again, you need large number of people who can do that and people who have the specialized skills for that matter. And same applies for even buildings also. I am talking about the housing structures in our cities. The other facet is, which is again very, very concerning, and that is that what happens underground. There is so much of utility that has been buried underground. Do we have enough people who can manage and sense that and make some kind of a assessment of what is buried inside the ground? So these are the things that we have to see. There is another situation that we have to be very, very certain about now, and especially with the kind of growing menace of natural calamities like earthquake. Is it not the time that we should start thinking, and that especially goes to Mr. Reddy, who represents the real estate subsector? And as the height of the buildings is getting taller and taller, and I believe that 118 and 119 storied structures are being constructed now, and especially in the city of Bombay, an example is Trump Tower. Is it not really prudent to start considering that we should start using steel construction, which is actually the ductile construction? Is it not the time that we should start thinking that let that be prefabricated factory built construction, and in situ we are going to be erecting and commissioning the projects? So these are the kind of issues on which the directions are needed. Of course, the budget does not provide anything like that. In macro numbers, things will come. But fact of the matter is that the intention, the approach that the government has presented to us, that needs a lot of sharpening. And we will be looking forward to the new government coming and giving the detailed budget for that matter. But I think these are the points that I would like to flag. There are, of course, many, but then at least these are the very, very essential. And if I go by the Pareto's principle of 2080, I think the 20% uh, attributes which are going to be impacting remaining 80 or rather 100% are these only. So we have to start looking at it. Mr. Pai, who is running one of our largest construction companies, he knows it very well. The same thing applies even to Mr. Reddy also. He's basically looking after the real estate sector, and the works are being awarded to various contractors who are not able to access the manpower, and that's a reality in life. That's a fact of life. Just to give you an idea, about 30 years ago, almost all the states used to add to the forces which were there in construction, all the states. But now, if you go to the southern state, you don't find the young people available there who are willing to come to construction. Majority of the persons who are working today on project sites anywhere in the country or even outside that, they are coming from only four states. You have Uttar Pradesh, you have Bihar, you have Jharkhand, you have Odisha, and partly they come from Bengal also. This is the way things are. And as the economic strata of these people is rising, as the kind of support provisions are being made for them to remain in the rural hinterland, I guess that this is going to be a very serious concern. So, what exactly the budget will bring, which directions will it bring, what exactly are the kind of things that the industry has to do, that is something on which we have to take a call now. So, these are the kind of issues In nutshell, what I have given you is actually those areas which are areas of concern. We have to start pondering about it, and we have to prepare. Otherwise, there are many situations where we might find that we may have all the money in the world, we may have all the intentions to do the work, we may have everything available, but we won't be able to do. Another very important aspect that is coming, and that again is getting related to human resources. Where are the young engineers? Who are the people who are actually coming and basically willing to be working, living a tough life at construction sites? That's a very, very major void that we have. Majority of the young persons I have seen, they are basically drifted towards the IT kind of work, and that is where the difficulties are. Many of the engineering colleges, they are now they have terminated offering programs in civil, electrical, and mechanical engineering. So that is precisely what we have been working with CMRL also on a pilot basis. And hopefully, we are going to be expanding it throughout the country, not only on the metro rail network, but also on other subsectors as well. We are talking about the industrial infrastructure, we are talking about roads and highways, we are talking about the real estate or the housing sector, because we need people everywhere. That is actually something which is going to be the weakest link in the chain. And as all of us know, that the strength of the chain is always measured by the weakest link. So I think the government also has to start putting up few things. I'm sure there are a lot of things that must be getting deliberated. They'll be working at it. They'll come out with some kind of policy. But these are the issues that I would like to flag now. Thank you.
Right. You mentioned CMRL. Unfortunately, Mr. T Archunan is not in our in our panel right now, but he did give his views a little earlier. He had to board a flight. So we're going to play what
Jayashree,
Mr. Archunan said.
Jayashree,
Yeah.
we have Mr. Pai sitting here, and
No, we have Mr.
incidentally,
Archunan has already given us a
let me
bite, and we'd
let
like
me
to
let me
play that also.
let me say something.
Yeah.
Mr. Pai is here, and
Yeah.
his company has a distinction of
Yeah.
initiating this whole thing first from Central Vista project,
Right.
and now at CMRL, they are the first construction company who have come forward and put in almost about 1,200 workers who have been taken through that particular drill. And if you need his comments, you can always request him.
Absolutely, we have to get his comments. But let's listen into what Mr. Archunan said, and then we'll go on to discussing the issues that we have raised. Because Mr. Archunan has also raised a couple of issues which are important to our discussion. Prashant, can we play that video, please? No volume.
So Chennai Metro needs a lot of workforce, like white collar, gray collar, blue collar. So white collar, we have no problem at all. The gray collar workers, particularly specialized people like operators, BIM, that is Building Information Model, PMIS and all, we find shortage. And in case of blue collar workers, particularly supervisors and other artisans, we have huge shortage, and also whoever available are not skilled at all. They are not trained. They have been assembled from particularly other states for a specific period, and they are in different ages. They are good. They are enthusiastic about their job, but they are not trained either quality or their own skill. So we need that this workforce only our backbone of our metro infrastructure at present. Still, we depend upon lot of since mechanization is not happening so fast in infrastructure industries, particularly in metro. For buildings and all, we need a skilled workforce. Nearly, we are presently have some 20,000 laborers and artisans, apart from engineers, supervisors. So these people are not trained. If we train, they will be useful to us, and also their future career will be. It will be better for their future career also. India needs skilled workforce. We have very good technological strength, but skilled people, artisans, and many area of skilled artisans and masons, all the people, we need a huge number, and there should be an organized. Now it is not an organized form; it is unorganized way it is going on. But government has to take a step to mobilize and identify them and maintain a master database that will be of great help in the future.
Thank you. And I thought that was important to play, so because it is part of what all of you have been raising as well. And each one of you is facing the skills shortage in the industry today. So two big issues that you have raised that we would like to take into the next thing. One is the skilling, the skilling and technologies. Both
Yes.
Mr. Pai and Himanshu Kapadia talked about technologies and research. Maybe we should first talk about technologies and then we'll go back to the skilling problem. Himanshu, would you like to elaborate a little more about what you said?
Yeah, sure. So, if you look at the statistics, some some reports say that construction industry contributes to almost 40% of the pollution, measured in different ways. Whether we are talking about AQI, the contribution of dust pollution to that, or carbon dioxide coming from the cement, or the construction waste, etc., etc. Now, for when I'm looking at what other governments are doing, uh, I see a lot of funding coming in for research into the technologies which will reduce the environmental impact of the construction as in construction practice, as well as in the construction materials being used. And this, so we have to address this biggest contributor to the pollution. Uh, and there are various technologies uh, which are actually being tried by different companies. So people are trying to do the carbon dioxide entrapment in concrete by various means, or we are talking about utilization of GGBF as the blast furnace slag, or the fly ash in concrete. Now, if you look at the fly ash, the current fly ash, only about 70% is utilized in concrete. Almost 30% is still going into the waste, into the deposits, which create another environment problem. And then in the previous years, we have accumulated millions of tons of the fly ash, which needs a proper method of disposal. Then we are talking about the the technologies which are free of volatile content, that kind of thing. So there are multiple things in the works. They are being done by the private operators, but there's not enough financial incentive either to the researchers, the building material producers, or the users to adopt these technologies. uh, I can also look at something what Singapore government has done. So they came up about 10 years ago with two scores. One was constructability score, other was buildability score, which actually measured the number of people, buildings employed in general, and the saving in a particular building which was being done in the labor force, or mechanization, or speed of construction by using precast, etc. So if we can come up with something like this, we will have a mathematical number to talk about what advancement our constructors are doing. And based on those advancement, we can also try to do some kind of incentives which will address a lot of these problems.
True. Mr. Pai, I'd like you to pick up where Himanshu left off. Interesting. What can be measured is what can be fixed, right? I think that's the message that Himanshu is talking about. You need research to reach that place where you can start putting systems of measurement, and then you can fix the problems. Your views on this?
Sure. Jayashri, I'm aware and I'm sure you're also conscious of the fact that we are moving quite a bit away from the original budget conversation. I'm assuming that whatever had to be said on that topic has been said, because this is a topic which is not a 1 hour topic. This is a very big topic. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
I normally give an example of the construction or the EPC industry in India as something very similar to what we experience in our homes on a daily basis, which is the maids who come to our house or the drivers who come and help us. Yeah, we actually give the keys to the house to them. We want them to do, and without them, it's very difficult to survive. But we don't see the problems behind them or the people behind them. Are they happy? What are they facing in their, while doing the work which they are doing? And very similar for this industry. Everyone wants to build fast. Everyone wants to reduce, the carbon from the construction sites and all that, right? And this billions of dollars of investments which this industry has to build. But I didn't realize, Dr. Swarup told me in our last conversation a week ago that uh, 2 decades ago there were 25 big companies in this sector, and now there are just 6. Yeah. So I would say that this is a massive problem which needs attention and needs big attention. And I'm a little concerned that we are not addressing the problem, but only loading that donkey more and more till it. So the problem starts with a very poor project definitions. The National Statistics Organization releases data on project predictability in terms of cost and time, and it's very poor. It's shocking. More than 60-70% of the projects are delayed beyond the normal band of in which they should be done. The cost overruns are almost 30%. So if we say this 1,1,1,1,1 investment, 30% of that goes in funding overruns on the projects which are already ongoing. So this is a big problem which I think needs attention. And one of the things I think is that in India there is not one ministry or one place which owns this industry. You have to go to the railways ministry, you have to go to the petroleum ministry, you have to go to the MORTH, and we need an umbrella organization, and I think that's where organizations like CIDC can probably play a bigger role if they are empowered and structured that way. Because
Wasn't that
it's
what
all,
Gati Shakti was supposed to do? Wasn't Gati Shakti supposed to bring all industries together under an umbrella to
I
sort
would
out?
look.
Yeah.
I mean, simple answer. You can again go the Gati Shakti, that whole portal. The contractors don't have access to this. It's only the ministries and the owner organizations who have access to it. So how can you? I don't even know Gati Shakti, honestly. I've heard this and I see all that and I see all that, but I hear all that. But what is it? I mean, what impact is it making? After Gati Shakti, have we evaluated the health of our project, the predictability of our projects improving? Is there one master project which has adopted Gati Shakti and showed dramatic improvement? I just think that it's a much deeper topic than just expecting Gati Shakti to solve all these problems. So
Okay.
I would say that it needs an empowered committee of the cabinet. I would go to the extent of saying to really look into, if we have to build at this pace and we have to build sustainably, what are the problems and how we can resolve it. At this point in time, all the remaining 6 organizations which Dr. Swarup told about, they're all under very heavy balance sheet stresses because of poor project definition, leading to changes, leading to arbitrations and the legal proceedings, and creating huge stress on this. So I would say this is a topic which needs immense attention, and I'm hopeful that the new government, when it sits together and decides that we have to still continue on this strong path of growth of infrastructure, will also really get into the problem solving as to how can we make this industry more sustainable.
You close that. So, Prashant, hold the grid format. We'll talk as a group. This was not off the budget. Actually, I was coming back to what was announced in the budget, where they said that from Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, now we are talking about a 4th dimension, which is Jai Anusandhan, which means that research has come on the radar of the government. They haven't spelled it out, but it came in a budget. I think it's the first time that research and technology has come in this format. it hasn't been spelled out. Maybe it's a directional thing, and that's why I thought it's important to pick up what Himanshu had said. We are not going off the budget topic. I'll come back to Mr. Ram Reddy. A very quick response. Since we have only about 20 minutes left, I thought it's important to take the various threads that the budget has released. Mr. Ram Reddy, in terms of research in the real estate sector, do you think that there is enough research happening in terms of factory construction, the off-site construction, so that we can reduce pollution? Could we talk about your sector and what research and developments and technological developments are happening?
Yeah, in construction research is, I don't think I can say research is happening greatly. Very, 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 very minimal. As Dr.
Okay.
Swarup said, how many issues we are facing? I mean, labor shortage is going to be there. No, I mean, it's only the beginning. I mean, only as he said, rightly said, 4 or 5 states only the labor are available. Future, it's going to be big, big, big problem because no mason wants his son to become a mason. Nobody wants to take over that. So it's going to be biggest challenge. So the big corporate companies or big high-rise buildings, what he has mentioned, 100-story building, there's a technology at least where they're using it. We can go with steel structure, aluminum formwork, or precast. But whereas there is a huge construction is happening in the smaller MSME developers, for them there is no technology. So lot of research is very much required. It's a very, very, very important to do a lot of research into that and bring some technology wherein a small structures also can be built with a lesser cost. Now, as you rightly said, yes, precast is going to be the order of the day. But today, when you compare the cost, it's not workable because the factories available, the transportation, various things. So it's not happening. So in future, definitely, it is very much required. The I can say least efforts are put into construction research. So government has to focus on this, and there is huge money is there. I mean, they're collecting the labor cess and for the welfare of that, but that money is not being fully utilized. Every state has thousands of crores of rupees as lying with them. The skill development is happening, but the way I mean the amount of efforts has to be put, it is not there. So government has to focus on the skill development and research. Then only the industry is going to have it. Otherwise, after 6 years, or maybe 10 years, it's going to be very, very difficult.
Yeah. Dr. Swarup, from what I hear from each of them, they need an industry level research, industry level planning for the worker, to address the big problems of worker shortage, worker skilling, and so on. It's not that money is not there, it's that money is lying in different accounts and it needs to come out. How can the CIDC help in this?
Well, Jashi, the basic philosophy behind establishing CIDC, and I am fortunate to be the founding director, so therefore I can speak with some authority. And we have also been able to nurture and give birth to some other organizations like real estate to be looked after by NAREDCO. And I have the privilege of being on the board for the lifetime, in the sense that DGCIDC has a permanent place there because we were the ones who had actually given birth to NAREDCO. Now, the basic philosophy behind the whole thing was, and Mr. Pai was very right in saying, that the Gati Shakti and other bodies that are basically set up by the government, they do not have the representation or the voice of the real operators.
Right.
Even the real operators who are there, they basically convert their associations into industry associations. CIDC has never been an industry association really. CIDC has never been a government organization and an authority in that sense.
Yeah.
CIDC has been an organization where 5 central ministries, number of public sector undertakings who are responsible to construct the infrastructure, industry associations, and to top it all, best of our construction companies, they have been part and parcel of this outfit. What was the idea? The idea was that through consensus, through reasonability, we will be able to evolve a method by which construction industry is going to be doing very well. This
Yeah.
whole thing was, foreseen by the
Yeah.
forefathers who had set up the organization. They said that if we have a government department or a singular ministry running this whole thing, then this whole thing will be straitjacketed. This is not going to be working. At the same time, we are not looking at an industry association. We are looking at a platform where the government and the private sector, they should sit together, they should talk about it, they should come out with the problems, and they should sort it out. Let me tell you, there are number of things that CIDC has done, and I would invite anyone to visit our website to see exactly how progress has been made. We are the authors of at least three national plans. We are the ones who initiated the chapter on construction. We set up the institutions. We set up the kind of grading mechanism for the real estate industry as well as construction industry.
Absolutely.
And for 9 long years, we basically offered that grading so that the financial institutions can feel safe and secure to lend. Correct? We were the ones who initiated the skill development. Believe you me, we are the first ones who had formally started this whole process. My
What
first
more
batch
do
of
you need to do in the light of what these guys have
I
said,
will,
in the
I am,
light of the
I am,
technologies?
Jayashree, I am coming to that.
Yeah.
Please understand. And this is not a lament actually. I am
Yes.
saying that there is a huge legacy, and
Yeah.
the organization that everybody is asking for is actually CIDC.
Yeah.
Now, what are the kind of difficulties that we are facing? That also let me tell you here. As I told Mr. Pai in my earlier discussion, that mortality of construction companies has been rampant. When we started initiating the work, there were more than 30 major organizations. Of course, they were not to be compared with the kind of workload that the today's companies have. Even Larsen and
Yeah.
Tubro never had those kind of turnovers. But whatever was the work, it was majorly being handled by about 32 major organizations. Now, those major organizations have come down to almost six only.
Yeah.
Rest of them have vanished. And then what we have lost is the voice that would have come, voice that would have come from the industry. And that is the reason why we are going very aggressively now, very aggressively now to the major companies and telling them that you have to understand that there had been a kind of a passage which was full and fraught with dangers. And these are the problems that we have seen happening. There is a historical, factual situation behind it. So, if for nobody else, for your own self, you should basically you should basically try to join hands. You should try to be together so that we can talk about it. And believe you me, 90% of this can be done through self reforms. You
Yeah.
don't really need government intervention in 2001 things. Mr. Reddy was absolutely right when he said that so much of funding has been collected in the name of construction workers welfare cess, which is
Yeah.
lying unutilized. Let me give you an idea. Even the smaller states like Tripura, they have almost 300 to 500 crores of rupees lying with them unutilized. They don't do that. In Tamil Nadu, they are having a very severe problem as to how exactly can they basically go for utilization of the money. But then the statute says very clearly that not more than 15% of the accumulated money can be spent on skill development. And the regulation says very clearly that it has to be spent on the boys and girls from that very state itself. Now, look at the ironical situation where a Tamil boy or girl will not work on the projects in Tamil Nadu. You have to get people from UP and Bihar and Jharkhand and all. They cannot get the advantage of the construction worker welfare cess benefit. And Mr. Reddy is shaking his head, and he knows very well in Andhra and Telangana both. It is
Yes.
only the workers from northern states who have come. Himanshu knows it very well that in order to make sure that construction chemicals are actually utilized properly and unwanted players are not getting into this game, it is necessary that applicators must hold a skill certificate.
Yeah.
Must hold a skill certificate. They ought to know. Otherwise, everybody is in peril. The material will go to a real estate complex. The waterproofing will be done. Other things will be done. And come third monsoon, and leakages will start.
Right.
And that is a very rampant situation. And who gets blamed? The blame goes to his company that manufactures construction chemicals.
Good.
That is the
Absolutely.
problem. So I think here is a situation which is getting graver and graver by the day. So what we are doing aggressively, believe you me, CIDC does not invite membership like any other organization. Even today, our numbers are limited to less than 100. We don't go beyond that. But we only say that a lion has one cub only, and we need the cubs of lion. That is what basically we are looking at. Let us sit down, let us discuss. And I would invite Mr. Reddy that this is just a precursor,
Yeah.
even in the real estate sector also. I don't want to say what exactly is happening, but there are plethora of problems. Plethora of problems. I don't want to
I do.
have a kind of, like a crying person, I would say. But who has to solve it? We have to solve it. Nobody else has to solve it.
Okay,
And we have to come.
Dr. Swarup, now we have 10 minutes left, and there are two issues that I want to raise from the budget. If you don't mind, let me put those on the table as well.
Please go. Please go.
I would like to bring Mr. Pai here. Mr. Pai, there are 4, 5 parts of infrastructure that were called out. One is that 3 to 4% of the GDP is going to go into infrastructure construction, and which is a substantial allocation. Then the second thing is that they've called out a few sectors. The last mile port connectivity. They've called out the corridors of railway connectivity, which will free up the remaining lines for enhancing the passenger travel as well as speeds. Then they have also called out that airports, 57 new cities have been connected by the airports. And lastly, of course, the highways. We have this humongous network of highways, which is an ongoing project which will happen. This impacts each one of you. When we have the scale of construction, one is that people like Mr. Pai as organization have to actually implement it on the ground without time and cost overruns. Like he said, a large part of the money goes into financing the overruns. The second thing is that for people like Mr. Reddy and your tribe, these connectivities are actually going to grow. Like in an earlier conversation, Mr. V. Suresh said that from 500 cities, Amrut cities, we've gone to 3,800 Amrut cities, which means that 3,800 cities are now water, sanitation, and waste management is in a structured fashion. It should be coming, right? So these are all projects of different dimensions, but ultimately, like each one of you have said, the contractors are only 6. How much can you implement on the ground, large scale construction as well as small construction? And before we close, Mr. Swarup, I would like you to pick up the trenchless tunneling. There was a plan for a national digital twinning policy, which means that what is underground should also be mapped so that we know that we are not puncturing the sanitation lines when we are laying water pipelines. Even that is not happened so far. Do these need to be called out in budgets? Mr. Pai, I'll start with you because you are the hero of this piece right now.
No, I think all the investments, as you said, I'm very encouraged by the airports part of it, because again they are that's the emerging field, and we also see a lot of public-private partnerships working successfully. Unlike
Yeah.
in the other sectors, the public-private partnerships there are working successfully, and that leads to faster project execution and better spending of the capital, as I would say.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I see this time a much more balanced approach towards the infrastructure spend. Last year, I think the roads and railways had almost 70% of the 1 lakh crore which was allocated, whereas this time roads plus railways is half of it. And the half, there are ports and there are airports. So, overall development in metros and overall development has been thought of, which is good.
Yeah.
On the railways, I would say that a lot of work has been done on the eastern and western dedicated freight corridors, except for the last leg where the project has started now. gaining momentum. Most of the eastern and dedicated freight corridors, eastern and western, are getting completed in this year, and that will ease a lot of load on the existing infrastructure of the Indian Railways, which is going to be good. And I'm assuming the fresh investment mean there will be other dedicated freight corridors. But again, it has to be seen because the terms of contract of the dedicated freight corridors are not friendly, and they're not equitable. Find it very difficult for big players to successfully do projects, and the record of the present projects are there for everyone to see. So I would say that again, if all of this has to be done, uh, each of these two big ministries have to look at the terms under which the contracts are formulated, to make the projects move much faster.
Sure.
Have a much better front end planning, a front end definition. The DPRs which are made presently are extremely short on content, and technology needs to be improved so that the projects become more predictable.
Okay. Ram Reddy, very quickly, if you can talk about your sector and talk about if 3,800 cities are getting structured water, pipeline, sanitation, and so on, will the developers have a wider, has the pie grown?
Yeah, definitely. As the more money goes into infrastructure, development will be happening greatly. So I just give one example. In Hyderabad, we have a ring road of 158 kilometers. So this is facilitating so much well from who get down from airport. You want to reach to any part of the city, maximum 50 to 60 minutes. Well, I mean, the farthest part also. So the infrastructure, the more you put into infrastructure, definitely it's going to help everyone. The travel time will reduce. And I mean, always we talk about in other, developing countries, we talk about the travel time only. We never talk about the distance. So that is also coming into in India slowly. The amount of money, what they are putting in infrastructure is definitely is going to help in the growth of the country.
Sure. Himanshu, to a quick response from you. As climate change happens and we have more extreme weather incidents, the role of construction chemicals becomes more and more important. And like Dr. Swarup said, if it's not well laid, the baby lands in your court. But actually, the thing is that it is, you need the entire supply chain or the execution chain to be evolved. So, your response.
Sure. So good that you pointed this topic. This topic, we are kind of unsung, not heroes, but unsung contributors to this, good cause. I mean, today you make say M40 concrete with 300 odd cement, kg cement. In past, we were using 350 kg cement for making M15 concrete. Yeah. Now, this has happened because of the construction chemicals. I've just given a simple example. So, on today's date, if you are using for the same construction almost 40% less cement, that is happening because of construction chemicals. And the examples can go everywhere. And this is why I'm always in favor of sustainable technologies in construction. Because when we are talking about sustainable technologies in construction, all the building materials will come into the play. The advanced building materials that includes construction chemicals as well.
Right.
And this is where I'm talking about the sustainable concrete, utilization of fly ash, utilization of blast furnace slag, use of less volatile material, and the incentives to the users. On today's date, when you are making platinum building, it's the name which the platinum building owner is getting, but there's no financial incentive as such to them or to their building material suppliers. So I'm linking it to the budget right now. I'm not trying to make it a technology session,
Right.
but clearly I believe that there is some kind of funding required to promote people, and we have to remember that we have signed to the zero carbon and whatever climatic promises we have made to achieve by 2070. We will not be able to achieve if we only focus on renewable energy and don't
Yeah.
focus with financial help to in the construction industry.
Absolutely. Good point. Dr. Swarup, 2 minutes, last 2 minutes, we are at 4:59. Last 2 minutes, what do you think quick fixes for the problems that are highlighted in terms of cities? You're muted.
You're on mute.
Get me unmuted. Yeah.
Yes, you are
Thank you.
unmuted now.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, if I have to say that my list of priorities,
Yeah,
I will say the first priority goes to the human development. That is my
okay.
first priority, without
Yeah,
any hesitation.
yeah,
The second priority for me is resolution of all the contractual disputes.
yes.
And
Very
that is
important.
very important because for the survival of the construction companies or the service providers, we have to have a dispute free working. That is the
Yes.
second, if I have to go for the quick
Yeah,
fix, then
yeah,
number one and number two are these items that we have to handle. Number
yeah,
three, I will also accord equal importance to very quick resolution of all unsettled items and the menace of delayed payments that are basically being given to the construction companies. That is the
true.
third thing.
Yeah,
Fourth, I would basically be then looking at the kind of situations when it comes to the sustainable energy and all. And let me tell you, the another Pandora's box that is now going to be opening up from next year onwards, which is going to be limitless. And that is actually harnessing the green hydrogen. We
yes,
have already started working at that. And very soon, this is going to be a major disruptor. The moment hydrocarbons are going out and green hydrogen is being used, we are going to be having a lot of things changing. That is there.
yeah, yeah,
So there are a number of issues, but I will basically see that. And very important issue that you had raised, that is actually subsurface utility that we have, that has to be immediately tackled. We do not know what is buried inside the ground. And it is
yeah,
causing a huge problem, not only for project owners, but also the construction agencies. This is
right.
another very severe problem. So
Yes,
these are few of the things that I would like to sort out immediately. And I think we are well poised. The only thing is that we have to have some kind of a synergy among the industry. They should all sit on one platform. They should speak about it. The government can only give the direction, but the delivery has to be done, made by industry only. Nobody else
right,
can do that. So we have to
right,
go for the self-help, and that is the kind of thing that I prescribe.
right.
Thank you.
Uh, that's where I think we will end the conversation. This is actually the beginning of a conversation. What each one of you has highlighted is issues that need to be picked up, and CIDC is best positioned to pick up the issues and take it through to resolution. And I sincerely hope that each one
I
of you
just
keeps coming
one
back to us. Yes, yes, Mr.
Just
Reddy.
30 seconds for me. I really thank Dr. Swarup for bringing out so many issues. He understood the industry very well, and he's forecasting the all the problems. I really very happy to hear from you, sir. Really, a person like you can bring some changes. So CIDC is doing a great
Absolutely.
job. How quality oriented we have experienced. We have applied for the that awards. So the way it is scrutinizing, I didn't expect that so much transparency is there in that. Really, I'm very much thankful to hear from you today, sir.
Mr. Reddy, I
Wonderful.
am honored. I am honored beyond limits. I'm so
No,
happy.
no, it's
You
not
have
that.
made my day. Thank you.
And the issue that Mr. Reddy picked up about the Vishwakarma Awards, the construction industry is full of uh, doyens.
Yes.
Unfortunately, they are the unsung doyens of the industry. And I think out of all the awards that I have seen, the Vishwakarma Awards, even though I'm now working closely with CIDC, I believe the Vishwakarma Awards are truly very fair, very well audited awards. Unless you prove that what you've stated is there
My,
on the ground, I
my
don't get
team is
the award.
fully energized and they wanted to win this award. Hopefully, I think. Yeah. So,
Let's hope. And that's where I think we will have to end this show, but it is only a beginning, and do keep coming back to us. For the audience out there, thank you so much for being such a patient audience. We've had a good audience viewing us live, and we hope that a large number of other people will also see it. Mr. Archunan from Chennai Metro Rail Corporation, unfortunately not here joining us. He gave his views, but I have to call out that organization because they have been front runners in understanding that if you don't train your workforces, don't assist your contracting companies to train the workforces, you will never be able to achieve excellence. So that's where we'll end this conversation. Thank you so much for joining us. This is CIDC Nirman, and I am Jayashree Kuru.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Please do not